Mars Attacks is what you get when you put about 300 famous actors all in one movie and tell them to not take it seriously. It's an alien invasion movie. Don't get me wrong, that's not a bad idea, but is there such a thing as a 2-star-studded cast? Let's see. It opens up, just like any other 50s sci-fi movie, on a farm, UFOs visiting Earth. Except, well, there's a bunch of cows on fire, so there's that. Jack Nicholson plays President Dale, who's just got word that aliens, specifically Martians, are coming to Earth. A pretty big deal, and he calls in all of his top correspondents. One being Donald Kessler, who advises him to have an open mind. These creatures traveled 33 million miles to get here. Surely they come in peace. Oh, yeah, one more thing. Glenn Close plays the president's wife, and Natalie Portman plays his daughter. But why is Glenn Close dressed as a Power Ranger? Yeah, I only pointed that out to make that joke. Moving on to New York City, where we meet Natalie Lake and Jason Stone, played by Sarah You know what? You know who these people are. And like I said, there's a ton of famous celebrities, so to save time, let's just point out why they're significant. They're news anchors who are dating, but they work for competing networks, and the president takes over their broadcast to make the big announcement. Now over to a trailer park, where we meet the Norrises. And I know I said I wouldn't comment anymore, but that's the legendary Joe Don Baker.
You guys watch Joe Don Baker movies?
Oh, look, just get back to work, temp boy.
With a young Jack Black. And who's that but Sylvia Sidney, who's most famous for playing the mayor in Snow Beast, obviously. Well, the whole family's proud of Billy because he's decided to join the military. Unlike Richie, who just works in a donut stand. But can you blame him? Free day-old donuts. Lastly, we meet ex-heavyweight champion of the world, Byron Williams, working in Vegas to make money for his family back home in New York. Whew, I think that just about wraps up all the introductions. Let's skip ahead to the big event. The day the Earth stood still, waiting for the Martians to make contact. It only took 36 minutes to get this far. Everyone watches with bated breath as General Casey reaches out a hand. They rebuttal with a handshake of their own, and it looks like they do come in peace. But then, a hippie releases a dove, which freaks out the aliens, and they open fire. At not only the bird, but everyone. It's mass chaos. Lake falls from her van, Billy gets vaporized on his first day on the job, and it's the same story for Stone. Luckily, or unluckily for his girlfriend and her dog, they both get captured and taken aboard the ship. So, I think it's pretty safe to say that things didn't go as planned. The president is still in the camp that maybe there was a misunderstanding, a difference of culture, and tries to communicate with them, which they don't really seem to care, taking an interest in experimenting on humans instead. Later that day, the Martians issue a formal apology, wanting to speak to Congress, which goes about as you would expect.
They blew up Congress!
Yeah, they're out for blood, and for seemingly no reason at all. At this point, it's time to bring in the nukes, and the president finally issues the order. They launch one, only to see a little device come out and suck up the explosion, which the aliens smoke. So, I guess that plan didn't work. But how will the aliens get to the president? Well, they have a plan of their own. By sending down a hot chick in disguise. Sex sells, and apparently get you into the White House. The humans figure it out a little too late, and pretty soon she's in the president's bedroom. Luckily the dog wakes him up, but then he's vaporized, so I don't like that. A fight breaks out, but eventually they open fire on the alien, killing it. And the mothership takes that personally. So they start a full-scale invasion, starting in DC. Luckily, Byron's boys, who are there on a class trip, are an ace with a laser gun, because of all the arcade games they play, and they help save the president. I always like that part. Like, look Mom, I should stay up late and play video games all night. It might save your life. Vegas is attacked next, with Byron getting a small group of people together to fly a plane to Washington and save his family. Meanwhile, at Richie's trailer park, they have a completely different type of monster to deal with, a giant robot. He speeds away in his truck to try to save his grandma, where we see she's in the nursing home, completely oblivious to the attack. Luckily, our boy comes in right before they use a giant death ray on her. She turns around, unplugging her headphones, and the music makes the aliens' heads explode. Nice, now we know their weakness: yodeling music. Unfortunately for the president, they don't know this weakness just yet, and after giving a very touching speech, he's killed. A symbol that the Martians have taken over. The Vegas crew finally make it to their plane, but bad news, they're surrounded. The only option is for Byron to fight them one-on-one and give the others a chance to escape, which honestly doesn't look too good for our boy here. News of the aliens' weakness is spreading all over, and up in space, Kessler and Lake say their goodbyes. Oh yeah, Kessler was kidnapped as well, and they fall in love. Yeah, he had his head cut off, but other than them dying in their fate, it's a happy ending. Earth won. The cleanup can begin. Richie and his grandma receive medals for their heroism, and somehow Byron survived the onslaught and finally makes it home to his family. And that was Mars Attacks. Honestly, not as good as I remembered it. I saw this movie in theaters, which would have meant I was around 9 at the time. Probably close to this movie's target audience, because it's pretty silly. The aliens walking around in red Speedos is just one example of how goofy it is. I get this movie's a parody of just about every other sci-fi movie out there, and it does that quite well. Just some of the jokes were amiss. The CGI for 1996 is quite good, but it does date the movie. Just look at this scene. The aliens walk funky, and the leader just kind of does a little hop up the stairs. This is just one example. They did use real rubber aliens, and they looked really good, with that signature Tim Burton feel. My final complaint is the sheer number of high-level actors. I mean, it is fun to see, but after a while, it's like, stop introducing me to these people and get on with the show. Overall, I like the story. The aliens attacking because of a bird, a creature I guess they've never seen before, was fine. Although I am betting that they've always had an eye on a forceful takeover. The bird was just an excuse. And I don't mind that music kills them. Sure, it's silly, but plenty of other movies do something similar. Look at War of the Worlds. The aliens die because of bacteria in the air, aka they can't breathe oxygen. Isn't that something an advanced race should have checked before invading? Mars Attacks is a fun throwback to older alien invasion movies, and it is quite self-aware. However, throwing just about every famous person in one movie means it's going to take some time to get to the action. I give Mars Attacks 3 acts out of 4.
I'm a lawyer. You want to conquer the world, you're gonna need lawyers, right?